The decision made in a hallway at dawn. It wasn't planned. It wasn't scheduled. It happened between footsteps, before the day officially began. And by sunrise, everything had changed. Power is often imagined as deliberate and ceremonial. But inside the White House, some of the most consequential choices emerge far from conference tables. They appear in transitional spaces, hallways, doorways, moments where time feels borrowed. Today, when decisions are scrutinized frame by frame, it's easy to assume every outcome is a result of careful process. The truth is more unsettling. Sometimes history turns because two people cross paths at the wrong or right moment. The hallway was quiet that morning. Staff arrivals were staggered. Briefings had not yet begun. The building was in its in-between state, no longer asleep, not yet fully awake. One official was moving quickly, carrying the weight of an unresolved issue. Another was arriving early, already rehearsing the day ahead. They did not intend to talk, but recognition slowed their steps. A brief exchange followed. Polite, efficient, then something shifted. One sentence reframed the problem they had both been avoiding, not as a debate, but as a deadline, not as theory, but as consequence. In the White House, timing is everything. Ideas presented too early feel abstract. Too late, and they feel disruptive. This conversation landed in the narrow space where urgency meets openness. There were no notes taken, no witnesses, just a realization shared between two people who understood what delay would cost. What made this moment powerful was its informality. Without an audience, there was no performance. Without hierarchy on display, honesty surfaced. Doubt was admitted. Assumptions were challenged. And a path that had seemed fixed suddenly bent. By the time the hallway emptied, a decision had effectively been made. Not finalized, not announced, but set in motion. The kind of decision that becomes irreversible before anyone realizes it was ever optional. And as the building fully woke, few understood that the day's outcomes had already been shaped, not by strategy sessions or directives, but by a conversation that lasted less than a minute. After the hallway exchange, nothing on the official schedule changed. Meetings proceeded, briefings unfolded, yet the direction of those conversations subtly shifted. What had been framed as one option among many now carried quiet momentum. The decision's strength came from its invisibility. Because it wasn't recorded, it couldn't be challenged directly. Because it wasn't announced, it faced no immediate resistance. It moved through the day disguised as a consensus, shaping outcomes without declaring itself. Those involved began steering discussions toward the same conclusion without coordination. Language aligned, priorities reordered. Alternatives lost energy, without explanation. To observers, it looked like organic agreement. In reality, it was synchronization born from a shared moment. This is how informal decisions gain permanence. Once enough people act as if a choice has been made, reversing it feels disruptive. Questioning it feels unnecessary. The hallway decision became self-reinforcing, not through authority, but through assumption. Some sensed a shift, but couldn't pinpoint its source. Others felt relief, mistaking clarity for correctness. Momentum replaced debate. By the afternoon, drafts reflected a direction that had never been formally approved. By evening, that direction felt inevitable. The danger of such moments is not intent. It is compression. Complex issues flattened into urgency. Nuance traded for speed. What felt efficient in the morning became constraining by night. Yet no one wanted to reopen the question. Doing so would require admitting that a significant choice had emerged without process. And in institutions built on procedure, acknowledging informal power is uncomfortable. The hallway at dawn faded into memory, but its effect did not. It embedded itself into plans, statements, and expectations. The decision was no longer owned by the moment. It belonged to the system. And systems rarely release decisions once they've absorbed them. As the day gave way to weeks, the hallway decision revealed its weight. What began as alignment hardened into commitment. Plans were adjusted to fit it. Risks were reframed as acceptable. Dissent, once possible, now felt untimely. The conflict emerged when consequences demanded justification. Questions surfaced from outside the original circle. Why this path? Why now? The answers sounded confident, yet they lacked a clear origin. The rationale had been built after the choice, not before it. Those closest to the decision felt the strain first. They remembered the hallway, the tone, the urgency. But memory is not evidence, and without documentation, the choice could not be revisited honestly. It could only be defended. This created a quiet tension. Public certainty paired with private doubt. Advisors began managing optics instead of outcomes. The energy once spent debating direction shifted toward maintaining cohesion. Momentum became something to protect, not evaluate. The deeper issue was not the decision itself. It was how easily informality bypassed safeguards meant to slow judgment. Hallway moments feel efficient because they compress complexity into intuition. But intuition, under pressure, favors immediacy over consequence. As the implications grew clearer, alternatives resurfaced in hindsight, paths not taken gained clarity too late. What once felt like decisive leadership now looked like narrowed vision. The system had moved faster than its ability to reflect. This is the cost of decisions made between footsteps. They feel decisive in the moment. They gain legitimacy through repetition. And by the time their impact is fully understood, they have already shaped the landscape beyond reversal. The White House did not fail in that hallway. It behaved exactly as human systems do. It trusted speed. It trusted familiarity. And it trusted that urgency was a substitute for certainty. The climax of this story arrives with recognition that the most powerful decisions are not always the most deliberate ones. Sometimes they're the fastest. The hallway at dawn did not feel historic. It felt practical. Two people solving a problem before the day demanded attention elsewhere. But practicality, when unexamined, can quietly outrun wisdom. As outcomes unfolded, the decision proved neither entirely right nor entirely wrong. It simply was, embedded into action, defended by momentum, and insulated from reconsideration. That is the nature of choices made without pause. They trade flexibility for speed. The resolution lies not in regret, but in awareness. Informal power will always exist. Conversations outside formal rooms will always shape outcomes. The challenge is recognizing when intuition needs interruption, when speed needs friction. In modern governance, efficiency is celebrated. Deliberation is often framed as weakness. But the hallway decision reminds us that what feels efficient in the moment can narrow possibility for years. This story is not about avoiding quick conversations. It is about honoring their influence, acknowledging the few words, exchanged before sunrise, can redirect history without leaving a trace. And that understanding matters today more than ever. In a world moving faster by design, the spaces between decisions are shrinking. What fills them will define what follows. Subscribe to join the journey. The